Okay, today's review is order of operations. Okay, order of operations tells us the order in which that we solve math problems. And it's very important because if we didn't have rules to how to solve math problems, then we would never always arrive at the same answer. So, long time ago, mathematicians came up with rules on how we solve math problems, and those are known as the order of operations. In elementary school, you remember these orders from the word PEMDAS. Sometimes it's introduced as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but in either case, this is what we're going to use. So PEMDAS is actually an acronym, and I purposely did this. The P stands for parentheses. That means the first thing we have to do is anything inside parentheses. Secondly is the word exponents. So after parentheses, we'll take care of any exponents we see. Next, we have the MD. This is multiply and divide. We do these together on the same line. So anything we see in multiply or divide, doesn't matter if it's multiply first, or divide then multiply, but we do it across the problem from left to right. So any multiply or divide you see left after you've taken care of parentheses and exponents from left to right. And lastly, the A and the S is addition and subtraction. And just like multiply and divide, we do it any order we see it from the left to the right. So it doesn't matter if we see subtraction first then addition, addition first then subtraction, whichever we see first as we go from left to right across the problem. And by the time you're done with these 4 steps, you would have solved any order of operations problems, because this is the order that we solve. Now, this is not to talk about when we have things like variables like x in the middle. We have some special rules because, of course, we don't know what x is. But if we have only numbers and we know all the numbers, so there's no hidden surprises in there, these are the rules to simplify any math equation. So parentheses first, then exponents, multiply and divide, and last addition and subtraction. Okay, so let's put PEMDAS to use. Let's say that I give you some complicated problem, and here we'll put some parentheses in it. And, let's make it a subtraction. Okay, so we're going to use PEMDAS to solve this. So the first thing, the P, is parentheses. So I need to do everything inside the parentheses. So what that is saying is that I am first going to do everything inside this set of parentheses. And then I got to do everything inside this set of parentheses. And only then, once those 2 things are done, can we go back and deal with this subtraction sign. Okay? And I've got to go across left to right. So let's do this one on the left first. Okay, so we are now inside these parentheses, so I see no more parentheses because we're only looking now inside this box. So next thing on the list is exponents. There are no exponents over here. After that is multiply or divide. I do see some multiply and divide, so I have to do the multiply and divide next. So I'm going to actually go ahead and rewrite this problem as 2 plus, and now let's do that multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, this is called simplifying. So we're following the orders of PEMDAS, and we've taken care of this multiply problem. And remember, we said we had to do this last because I got to do the parentheses first. But while we're working on this side, let's also rewrite this side. So we're back here again. I'm inside the set of parentheses. I see no additional parentheses inside this green box over here on the right. But what I do see that I have to deal with is exponents, which is the second thing after parentheses. They're right here. Exponents are also known as powers. They're the little numbers that are above the other numbers. Okay, so here's an exponent. I have to do it. And when you say something like 3 squared, what that means is that I have the same number appearing twice. This exponent tells you how many numbers I appear, and it's always a multiply problem. So 3 squared is equal to 3 times 3. If I had 3 to the third, that would mean I have 3 times 3 times 3. It's 3 threes. Okay, so this tells us how many of those, and this is the number that's repeated. So in this case, I have 3 squared, and 3 times 3 is, of course, the number 9. So we're going to rewrite this as 2 divided by 2, because I haven't done anything with this, minus, and then instead of 3 squared, we just decided it was the number 9. Okay? On the next line below that, we're going to go back one more time, and I'm going to start with the left parentheses. I still have stuff inside it. I've already taken care of exponents. I've already taken multiply and divide. So lastly, we're going to do addition and subtraction, anything we see in the order left to right. And the first thing I see is 2 plus 12, so I'm going to rewrite this as the number 14. And since I just have no more parentheses, I don't have to keep rewriting them. I do have this minus symbol here, but we got to deal with this left side. Okay, so on the right side. On the right side, I've dealt with the exponents. I see multiply and divide, so I'm going to take care of this division next, which is 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then rewriting, I still have minus 9, and because I still have more than one thing, I'm going to keep the parentheses. I got one more line, so we got to do the parentheses first, so I can't do anything with this 14 and the minus symbol. But I can do 1 minus 9. 1 minus 9 is, of course, the number negative 8. If you're having trouble with this, go back to our signed exponents review. And lastly, I can now drop the parentheses, so I got 14 minus a negative 8. And the double negative, as you also know from the signed exponents or signed integers rules, is a plus. So this is written as the same as, don't need that there, 14 plus 8, which of course is going to be 22. So you can check it with your calculator, but this whole problem up here, if you put it in a calculator, should give you the number 22. So I'm going to go ahead and show you another problem, and that will be it for this review. So let's do one more problem together using the order of operations. I'm not going to use any parentheses this time, just to make it a little bit easier on myself. Let's go with 2 squared divided by... No, actually, I'm going to use parentheses. 3 minus 1 plus 4 minus 3 plus 2. Nope, don't need the last set of parentheses either. Alright, so according to PEMDAS, first thing is parentheses, so first thing I got to do is this 3 minus 1. None of the rest of this matters, so we're going to just rewrite it. So I got 2 squared divided, like we did before. Instead of 3 minus 1 is 2, so I'm going to rewrite this 3 minus 1 as a 2. And then I got plus 4 minus 3 plus 2, just rewriting everything else. Okay, after parentheses I deal with exponents. I do have some exponents right here, so we're going to do 2 squared. That's 2 times 2, so I'm going to replace that with 4. Multiply and divide. I do have 1 multiply and divide, so it's right here. 4 divided by 2, of course, is the number 2. And then lastly, after multiply and divide, we have addition and subtraction. And I did this on purpose. I want you to see that we're going to do this problem left to right. And we have to do it left to right. It is not addition and then subtraction. We have to do this left to right. So going left to right, the first thing I see is 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is the number 6. Next thing I see is 6 minus 3, which is the number 3. And lastly, I can do 3 plus 2, which is the number 5. 5 is the correct answer. But you got to be really careful here, because what a lot of people end up doing is they'll come up here and they'll do 2 plus 4, and they'll get 6. They'll do 3 plus 2, they'll get 5, and then they subtract those, and of course this gives you positive 1, and this is an incorrect answer. Correct answer is 5. So you must do addition and subtraction left to right. Okay? And the same thing with multiply and divide. It is not addition then subtraction. Any order you see, left to right. And of course I could do the same thing with multiply and divide. If I have 2 divided by 1 times 4, I have to do 2 divided by 1 first, and then I can multiply that answer by 4. 2 divided by 1 is just 2, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so multiply and divide or addition and subtraction left to right, whichever you see first. It does not matter if it's multiply then divide or then multiply. Same thing with addition and subtraction. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask. But the best way to get better at this is just to practice some problems. So please do some practice problems and ask as you encounter some issues.